Today I'm going to be installing a Multifix tool holder on my Emco Maximat 7 lathe. Welcome to another episode. This tool post that I put on here is a piston style tool post. And one of the problems with that is that I have to push the cylinder in there, the piston, so that this will go in place. And if I don't have it pushed in all the way, which happens sometimes, then this doesn't go down. So it's a little bit more work to use. The other thing is that because I have to have the tool all the way down to be at the right height for the center, it means that the piston is pushing on the top of the tool holder rather than the middle. So that probably results in some reduction in rigidity. Another thing that results in reduction in rigidity is that this is out farther away from the center. And so one of the things that I've learned through some trial and error is that the original tool holder or the tool post that came with the machine is actually more rigid because the tools are above the compound rather than hanging out from the compound. My plan all along was that this was going to be temporary. And if I were to do this over again, I'd get the type that have the wedges, because then that would work much better and it would be more robust or stronger. However, what I really want to do is use a Multifix holder like this. Now this is pretty big compared to this. So you're probably wondering, how am I going to mount this onto here? And the answer is I'm not. When I purchased this machine, I also got with it this mount here, which is a solid mount that goes onto here in place of the compound. So I'll pull the compound out and then I'll use this most of the time. And using this most of the time with the Multifix will allow me to use slightly larger and much stiffer tools. So the first thing I'm going to do is take this off. And it comes off very easily. And then what I'm going to do, and I'll explain why in just a second, is put the other tool post on here. So if we go back to the Multifix, this has this dial ring in here, which also helps hold it in place. The problem is the dial ring has a hole that is not large enough to fit over the screw. So what I want to do is put this into the lathe and bore this to the correct diameter. And before I bore it, I'm going to take these things off so that I can just put it into the chuck. But as I say, I want to put the other tool post on here first. So I'll put that on here. And I'm just going to keep it loose for the moment. The other thing I want to do is I want to turn this to 0. I had this at 15 degrees because I was actually cutting at an angle before, but I don't need it at an angle now. If I have it straight across, then that means any slop here is not going to show up in the boring operation. So I'll just loosen these screws. There's one here. And then there's one underneath on the other side, a little harder to get to. And then once I loosen those, then I can set it to 0. And there's a mark right there that I can see, so I'm going to set it on 0 according to the mark. And then tighten this side first. And then I'll tighten the other side. Now here's the boring bar that I got. It has a 3/8 inch shank, and this is small enough to fit into the hole, as you can see there. So that means I'll be able to bore this out. It's just barely small enough to fit in. So what I want to do is put it in here, and I'm going to just snug it down by finger pressure at the moment. And then this I can line up like so and then tighten it up. So I was just using the line across here to get that set. Now the next thing I want to do is just make sure that I have enough room to get in here all the way, which I do. Okay, so then what I'll do is I'll tighten these screws. Make it nice and snug to try to reduce any, to increase the rigidity and reduce the chance of chatter. Okay, I'll bring you around now. I'm going to put it in here. I have some copper soft jaws that I'm going to put in there. Probably don't need to do that, but I'm going to try that. Okay, these are the copper soft jaws that also came with the machine. There we go. Okay, then I'll open it up quite a distance. The chuck key doesn't stay on very well, so I'm using 2 hands for that. And then I'm going to open it up until this fits in. Okay. Basically what I want to do is put this on the bottom here, and that'll make it easier for me to tap on the top. Okay, so I'll set it to 0, like so, and then I'll turn it again. Okay, so that's the high right there. So I'll go 180 degrees, and then I've got this piece of aluminum. I'll just tap like that. And I'm off. That is really close. So I'm going to tighten this again. And I don't know if it makes a difference to tighten all 3. But doing that, it's now within, looks like less than 1/1000. So I'm going to say that's good enough. So I'll take this off. So now I can go in here and make sure that I can fit into the center here. And it does not go all the way. I'm also noticing that this is too short. So, because it's too short, that means I need to actually use the adjustment. So now I'm going to swap and put the other one back on. I have a boring bar holder for the other one that I think will work. So, okay, the battery died on me. Anyway, I have this boring bar, and so what I'm going to do is boring bar holder. So I'm going to back off the set screws. And then not quite. This is supposed to be a 3/8 inch boring bar, and this is supposed to be a 3/8 inch boring bar holder. But does not fit. Okay, plan B. I don't have extra of these, or not enough of them. So I will put it in correctly. Let's see, this way. Okay, this is where I have to push the plunger in until I... There we go. And the other thing is I will need the screw to set the height. So I'll put the screw back in. I had taken it out. Then I think it's this one. Yeah. So I can just tighten that in there. And now I can use this as intended to set the height. So okay, let me move you around so you can see that better. Okay, I've got you back about as far as I can get you without rearranging my workshop. But what I'm trying to do is set this until it's about center height. And that looks pretty good right about there. So I'll lock this in, like so. And then put this nut down. Okay, so I'm going to set the machine up to 1400 RPM, which is where it's at now. And then bring it in. Yeah, you're not seeing that very well. Let me try to reposition the camera again. Give it a try. So first I'll come in and I'll touch off. Okay, I need to raise it because it's touching the bottom. It's right there, just in the way. Okay, that's good. Maybe we're there. No, there's a little bit more. I like it just a little bit. Okay, just barely goes in now, so let's try that. All right, it just touched. I'm going to set it to 0, and I'll start with taking off 7 thousandths, see how that goes. Oop. First I have to engage the screw. Okay, let's try that. Okay, now I'm going to go 10 thousandths, because that worked out quite well. I'm going to measure it, see how we're doing, and see how far we have to go. So we're at 0.473 right now, and the target is 0.537. To calculator, so 0.54 minus, okay, I did not write that down. So I'll just do it again, 0.476. So that means I have 64 thousandths to go. And the dial is the radius, so that means 30 thousandths. So I'll do another 10 thousandths. I'll do a total of 20 thousandths in 2 passes and then measure it again. And this doesn't have to be precise because it just needs to slip over the screw. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, 0.52. So that means I need, at a minimum, another 20 thousandths. So that means if I take 10 thousandths, that'll be mainly what I need, and then I'll take a little bit more for clearance. And then I'm going to take 5 thousandths. And then a spring pass. Okay, now for the test. That's perfect. Okay. So I should be able to take that off. Let me back you up. Oh, what I didn't do, which I should have done, is to deburr this. So what I'm going to do is first clean out all the chips that got in there. Okay, and then I'll put it back in. Okay, and I didn't realize that, I could have just pushed it all the way back before. Okay, so now I can push it back this way. And then I'll bring this in. And what I'm going to do is turn this a little bit so that I can use this, put this on the 45, and then use that to chamfer the inside. Except it does not get close enough. So I'm going to move the compound out and see if that gets in there. That does. Make sure it clears. Okay, I'm going to rotate this a little bit more, or back I should say, because I want that to have a little more clearance. Okay, yeah, that's better. All right, it's a nice chamfer, and so now it's ready to put in the Multifix. All right, first thing I'll do is I'll put the spring back on here, and then the pointer goes on, like so. Okay, and then I'm going to take this off. So let me get a brush. Just clean the chips away. Okay, take that off. And then I'm going to completely loosen these screws. And one thing that will probably be easier is to rotate the compound. Oh, you can't see that very well. Okay, so I'm going to rotate it this way, because then I can see more chips. But more importantly, now I can reach the two nuts and just remove the nuts. And then at that point, this lifts off. I'll take out these two square nuts. Clean this out again. Okay, and then I believe it goes on. Okay, so it won't go on from the front easily. So I'm going to put it on from the back. And there are some nuts. So I think what I'm going to do is take the nuts off and put the nuts in first. And these are just regular hex nuts. Okay. There we go. Yeah, it's a lot easier. And then I'll take these two nuts off as well. Okay, so then I can put this on here and get those screws started. I'm going to pull these two screws out so that I can slide it past and then put the nuts in the back there. So, and then, let's see, I can put the screw in here. Okay, I missed the nut. There we go. Okay. And then, it's a little tricky. What I want to do is, I think I'm going to have to make some T-nuts for here, because that would make this a whole lot easier. Okay, so I'll pull this to the front, and then I can lock it down and put the Multifix on top. This should be a lot more rigid. Actually, I should take this off. That'll make it easier. Okay, that's installed. I may need to line it up, but okay, I've got a few more parts. So this is the wrench for tightening the tool in place. Here's this guy right here. So that means I should be able to put this on here, and then it's locked in place. And then I can pick it up, change the angle. Nice. All right, I'm going to get this set up with a tool and then give it a try with some steel. Actually, I've got some cheap steel here. I'll just chuck that in, take off the soft jaws, and then see what type of finish we get. So I'm going from a 5/8 inch tool to I'm going from a 3/8 inch tool to a 5/8 inch tool. So this should definitely be a lot more rigid. Okay, now the next thing is to, see, I'm going to set this to 0. Okay, that's not exactly 0, as I said, I'll need to adjust it. So let me bring you around so you can see what's happening here a little bit better. Okay, I can tell it's not 0 yet, so that means that I need to raise this up. Okay, that looks like it might be around 0. So let me do a face cut and find out. Oops. That looked like it was exactly on center. Nice. All right, now let me engage the feet again. And then I want to surface a little bit and see how that turns out. Okay, touch off. And I'm going to go in, set this to 0 and go in 10 thousandths. Wow. Oops. Went the wrong way. Let me bring you around and show you the finish. So this is the surface finish I got, and running at 1400 RPM, and this is a much better finish than I ever got with the other tool post. So it shows how much a difference rigidity makes to the surface finish. I'm really pleased with how this turned out. The increase in rigidity with the Multifix holder is really quite nice. And the other thing is that being able to change the angle, from straight on to any other angle and then back to straight on with repeatability is a really nice feature. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, comment below, and I'll see you next time.